Hey there, what's going on, guys? I'm pleased to finally be able to show you my completed work on my HG Hi-Mock that I've customized here to be sort of a anti-aircraft specialist unit, basically. Like I said, if you saw my work in progress videos on this, I think work in progress video, I think there was only one if I remember correctly. I said that basically one of the biggest reasons I wanted to make this kit was just to practice a technique of like mixing some thinned down putty and sponging that thin down putty onto the kit to create a texture on the surface. I think that came out pretty well. It didn't come out exactly how I had in mind, so I'll have to experiment with it again on future projects. I do like the look of it, so I definitely want to try it again a little bit later, and I'll do some more experimenting with it. But this was definitely a good first attempt, I think. Another thing that I did for the first time on this was do some like I don't want to call it pre-shading because it's not exactly pre-shading in how we typically think of pre-shading. It's more of like undertoning, I think maybe is maybe a better word for it. But I just like took some like darker brown and just sprayed it kind of like, makes it sort of like a camo. Just sprayed some darker brown in just some areas, just sort of randomly. Under that, then went over it with a color, I forget the name of the color, but that color that I went over it with was like too like poo-poo diarrhea yellow. So then I had to go over that again with another just like more tan color, and then that helped quite a bit for the main armor parts. And the secondary armor parts, like underside of the chest, the feet, and all the joint parts are in just like a regular just sort of dark green color there. So I wanted to keep those. Those are just plain smooth. There's no texture on those. So I wanted there to be some nice contrast there with the smooth parts and then with the textured parts. So I think that came out pretty well. And then just the backpack was just a way to sort of spice it up more, the backpack and the gun. I wanted to make the backpack like having the outside of the kit just really plain, not a whole lot of detail, basically just a lot of texture. And then make the backpack and the rifle as well just much more detailed. So the backpack, if you saw in the work in progress video, I think I showed that. I just basically took the backpack of the Hi-Mock and just added a whole bunch of stuff onto it. Some Kotobukiya weapons parts, it's just some extra parts here and there, and it's just kind of scratch built some parts on there, just from Runner there on the side. And all that even added a little bit of wiring underneath. I'll show you a little bit closer up in a minute. And then the gun is mostly all from the HG ZakuAurelius, just had that left over. I added an extra piece on the tip to make the barrel a little bit longer, and then added this piece here on the top, the front little like camera sensor part there. That's also from the ZakuAurelius, but then the main long part there is actually, I believe, a front leg piece of the HG Double Zeta Gundam that was left over from the Try-On 3 kit. So just basically just a scrap parts putting onto this, and hopefully I think it came out pretty well. It all looks pretty uniform, I think. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Then once everything was all done and painted, I did a wash over the kit. It was also my first time doing like a full wash. I usually just do my panel lining just like the panel lines, but this I actually like painted over like the entire kit. I'll have to show that later after I've tried it a bit more. Like people are going to be saying that they wanted to see that process, but it was my first time doing it, so I don't really want to show that. I'm not like I'm like embarrassed if I mess up or do it wrong or something, but I want to be able to show you guys when I know like how to do it well, so then I can like sort of recommend basically the technique that I'm using or something. So when I've got that a little bit more experience doing that under my belt, I'll do a video showing you guys that. But basically it's just really thinned down brown paint, and then just enamel paint, and then just brushed over everything, and then just like seconds after brushing it on, then just wiping it off with a tissue paper. So it's just adding just a little bit of shade to the kit, just like brown shade, of course, whatever color you're going to do. In this case I used brown because it seemed to fit the look of it, but you can do it whatever color you want. On the HG Zaku that I did, I'm sorry, the SD Zaku, I did it in like a really dark gray, but this one was the one I actually did first. So yeah, that really helped a lot. Actually, I'm really quite pleased with that technique. I'll definitely be using that a lot more in the future. It definitely added just a nice like brownish tint overall. And I think one thing that really helps is sort of like top coating, where like one of the advantages of top coating is it gives a nice overall, it makes everything look uniform with like the same finish. That it's doing basically similar to that. It's just making everything look uniform by giving everything the same sort of color tone, by giving everything just a little bit of a brown tint to it. Then it makes everything look like it goes together really well. So I'm really quite happy with the technique. Then for decals and detail painting, I did a very little bit of detail painting. Some details are painted in just a dark gray on the backpack, and I believe just like inside the shoulders there, just a little bit. And then for decals, as you can see, not really a whole lot, just the big, the sort of, I don't know what that sergeant or whatever sort of rank that is, just that rank marking on the chest, the skull there on the shoulder, just to be sort of like the symbol of their unit maybe, or like this certain pilot's symbol. And then also the AA here for anti-aircraft. What I wanted to do is just make this just be like with this big like generator on the backpack, and then there's a wire too. I'll show you guys that in a minute. There's a wire that connects the rifle to the backpack. So basically, it's like a really high-powered precision rifle just for like sniping down aircraft basically. So that's what I wanted to do with this. It's sort of a sniper anti-aircraft gun sort of specialized unit, so came out pretty well. Oh, and then of course the chipping, that was also a new technique. I've done chipping just with a paintbrush. I've never really done it by sponging. So a sponge chipping was my first time doing that. It didn't really come out too well. Some areas it's okay, but in some areas it's definitely a little bit too much. I think especially on this arm here, there's some areas where there's just too much of that on there. So again, just a learning experience. It doesn't look too terrible, I think, but it's definitely a little bit more than I would have liked. Overall, it still, I mean, looks not bad. And I think that was pretty much it. Other things that were modified, if you saw, again, if you watched the work in progress, you saw I also modified the limbs. The thighs and the upper arms are elongated. The upper arms are extended by 4 millimeters, and then the legs are extended by 6 millimeters. So I extended those out to give it a little bit better proportions, I think. Not the limbs like aren't so stubby; they're more longer, like just regular sort of mobile suit, I think now, which is good. The lower legs are still really short and stubby and look kind of weird, but I think that's okay. Then also the mono eye on it, as it's facing the wrong way now, but when it comes back around you can see I just drilled out the mono eye and then added a clear piece. I had the like clear round piece was left over from RG Zaku. It was a clear piece that goes in the Zaku's machine gun, the RG Zaku machine gun, and I just popped that inside there. Just with a little bit of silver paint in the inside of that. So it just hopefully looks a little bit more like just a camera lens on there, I think. So I think that's basically it for all the modifications on here. Really, it wasn't really too extensive, but it was just some really kind of simple things just to help here and there, just to make it a little bit more unique, a little bit more customized, I guess, for me. Okay, so here he is with the gun in hand and the wire attached on the back. That wire is also just from the Kotobuki weapon set that that tank was for there. So just had to cut that. It was a little bit too long and cut it. It might I could maybe cut it a little bit more as well. I'm not sure anyway. But that's it on there. So yeah, again, it's not the easiest thing to get in there. Yeah, I guess I forgot to say this, and I should mention this. The hands on there are the hands from the ZakuAurelius as well. Those actually work very well because those are the hands that are used for holding this rifle. With one of them obviously being a trigger finger, and then the one holding hand for holding, not holding hands, it's like support hand for the rifle. So if you wanted to bring that across the chest, to do some two-handed firing, you can do that with that. I do have the Hi-Mock hands here as well. I did paint those up. So here's just the regular hands if you wanted to have just some regular holding hands. I have these here, just the regular Hi-Mock hands, and there's one more ZakuAurelius hand. The ZakuAurelius also came with just a closed fist. So for the left side there, you can just use this closed fist if you want. So yeah, that's it for its accessories. It doesn't have anything else other than just the different hand options. Of course, you do have the what was it? I think like the axe, and no, it didn't even come with the axe, did it? Just the rifle that came with the Hi-Mock, but I didn't paint that or do anything with that at all. That's just in the scrap bin at the moment because it's a really just awful looking design. Doesn't look good at all. So not sure if that will ever maybe be used for anything, but maybe just if I need to cut it up for parts or something. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, so that's pretty much it for this, guys. Not really too much else I can say about this. I will bring the gun around and show you what that looks like. Here, holding it in two hands. Alright, and to wrap this up, here's a look at that gun being held in both hands here. As you can see, the part there on the top of the gun also is able to move up a little bit, which is good for if you're doing something like this. It needs to be out of the way of the chest, so you can put it kind of up over the chest like that. Works out pretty well. That left hand can just barely reach to the rifle like this. I mean, just with the way it is, because the rifle is quite long there in the back, has to go under the arm, and there's not a whole lot of flexibility in the wrist there for the right hand for holding the rifle. So, kind of as it is, due to the limitations of its articulation and just the size and length of that rifle, this is about the best that you can do. It's not bad, I think, and of course I've got it in a pose sort of shooting up. It would be easier to pose it if it was pointing down or something like that. So maybe if you wanted to have, I mean, it's definitely, it looks like a ground type mobile suit, right? So I think it's going to be shooting up at aircraft. But if you had it in space, you could have it shooting down would work fine. Then of course you're not limited by having to look up in space, right? So anyway. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This was a really fun kit. It took a little bit longer than I had hoped. At first, when I first started working on it, I was just like, just blazing through the modifications and stuff, building the backpack, and that was going really fast. But then just the painting process took a while because I was working on other things and this and that. So just things got in the way. It was just kind of delayed for a while. So it's good to have it finally done. I'm not, even at the moment, just while filming this, I've been trying to think of what the ultimate fate of this kit is going to be. I think, I'm sure I want to give it away. I'm just on the fence as to who I'm going to give it away to yet, because there's a couple of friends that I would really like to give a kit, so maybe if not this one, I'll maybe have to get them with one after this, so I don't know. We'll see. I'll think about it. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you have any other questions or comments about this build, and maybe anything that you would like me to cover or talk about, maybe that I didn't talk about, or something that I may have missed or something like that, just let me know and I can maybe sort of talk about that. I think I covered pretty much everything. One thing I know I didn't mention, I forgot to mention, was I did use a sort of Dremel kind of tool to just roughen some of the edges on there, on the textured parts. So some of those edges are roughed up a little bit. Here on the backpack, I forgot to mention, this is supposed to be like a missile sort of rack there, just with some missiles inside there. It's supposed to be sort of like I mean, this is sort of like a sniper, like I said, sniper anti-aircraft cannon type mobile suit, but just for some other sort of defensive purposes. Mostly, I suppose he's got some missiles there on the backpack. That's what that's supposed to be in my mind anyway, in my pretend made up scenario of this mobile suit. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.